Boom, baby. We are live. It's been a long time coming. Welcome back to Tokyo Crypto Show, episode 106, How to Buy the Dip. I'm here with Charlie from cultivatecrypto.com, who pretty much no longer needs introduction anymore. How's it going today, bud?
Yeah, it's going fantastic. Looking. Oh, hold on, I got you in my other ear. Got to mute you on that side. But yeah, no, it's going fantastic. The dip gives. Here's the thing, which is really interesting about one of the streams. I think it was late last week, maybe Thursday. I showed a meme, where that guy is like poking Bitcoin with a stick, saying like, "Come on, Bitcoin, do something." It's like,
Mm-hmm.
and then the drop happens, of course, and it's like, well, at least it's doing something. And that drop was actually, I mean, it's a huge opportunity, right? So it's not what everybody would have hoped for. Obviously, pump is the most fun part of the market. Just watching Bitcoin go up, watching the portfolios just go to the moon is always great. But when you do get that dip opportunity, just more time to accumulate. So, and more time to yield on your assets, so you can compound your coins, make more money long term in this market, which really is what we've been doing since 2020 with the yielding, but 2019 with the entire market, right? So I think this market's been you had to be more patient in this bull market than anyone previous, just because of how the dips are a little bit extended in time, and this leads to the lengthening cycles with Bitcoin. So that's why we're lucky enough to have 2022 as a year where we're still in a bull market. Otherwise, we might have only popped up to maybe 90, 110K as a top, right? And then we'd have a flash top at the 4-year cycle, which is basically in about 9 days would be the 4 years from 2017's high for Bitcoin. And then we wouldn't get the chance for Bitcoin to go towards the $200,000 mark plus. So we always say that these dips are healthy corrections, and they are, as long as they don't break the uptrend, which we're not even close. Well, I wouldn't say we're not even close. I just say we're not there yet. So all is well. And bought that dip. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, it looks like we're having a little bit of a retracement this morning for the folks as well.
Yep.
But that's this episode was my idea, and because I think there just needs to be more guidance for the guys in the community, and because if you let your emotions get the best of you, good luck.
We've said that from day one, right? If you're an emotional person who can't control your emotions, because everybody's obviously a human being, but if you can't get a handle on that, this market's going to chew you up and spit you out, and you're going to lose money.
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. And so, moving forward, what we're gonna do tonight is, or this morning for you guys, us night tonight, we're just gonna give you like a pretty solid way to go about handling these dips, a healthy way emotionally and a healthy way financially, right? Because a big part of this is emotional control. Okay, a lot of guys don't seem to realize that, but if you don't have emotional control, and you don't abide by a strict form of logic, then I mean, really, it's only a matter of time before you lose money, quite possibly all of your money, and then you know, I'll tell you this though: if you're smart enough, like we tell you to be, and you actually um you learn as you're doing this, you don't just like aimlessly go through it, then you'll get better, and things will get better for you as time goes on. But it is what it is. Moving forward, we got a lot of bull market left for us. What do you say to the people who think like this is the end, like this is the beginning of the end of the bull market?
There's a couple of things you can say to them. It depends on how empathetic you are to them. But basically, one thing you could say to them, if they just are basically irrational in their emotions, is take your loss, take your lumps, get your McDonald's hat, go back to the Friars, and see you later. The market's not for you. That's one thing you could say to them. That's a little bit harsh, I would say, but it's what it is. And unfortunately, McDonald's is currently no longer hiring people who've ever traded cryptocurrency, according to one of their Twitter posts. So, but all jokes aside, I mean, there's some truth in that, obviously. But in terms of, you know, people who are like, you know, just like a little bit emotional. It's the first time around, you know, this game, and they're just, you know, a little bit bearish because they bought the top or they got in very recently, right? And they got in during the hype. I've met some people, you know, in consultations and stuff saying like, yeah, just I tend to always buy tops, right? And those are the people who tend to be the biggest bears, or the people who get most emotional because they're just not used to this type of volatility. And sometimes it's their first time in a market. They haven't even traded stock markets or anything like that before, or invested. But even if they have, sometimes they're like, you know, crypto's a scam. Like, you know, that's the first thing that they go to, which is understandable for somebody who's new. It just means they haven't done the work to understand what they invested in. And so then, like you said, right, you got to go purely to logic, and you got to go, okay, well, what do I not understand about this market? If you know, the market generally in the last bull market did minus 20 to 40% dips pretty damn regularly. So then you got to,
See,
you got to go.
This is a
You know,
McRib NFT from the
nice.
official McDonald's account.
Hey, you can you can count your losses, sell at a loss, take them all and buy that, and hope it comes back. But maybe it works. It looks delicious either way. But yeah, I would say, you know, go and look at data, right? Data is the best friend. And I think here's the thing that all the jaded bears see when they see the prices dipping. They go, you know, the data doesn't tell you everything. This market is going to zero, and they're all like Peter Schiff, right? And so it's like, you know, if you can't, I mean, what rules the internet, right? Data. What rules? You know, even NFL teams right now, right, are going and getting data analytic teams basically in order to, you know, have an edge against their opponents, right? So we're living in the digital age, and data is king. So if data is king, that's what everybody's looking at to determine where we are and how healthy you are. So all you have to do is look at the data, and then if you overinvested and you're, you know, not feeling good about it, then you will, you know, probably just you know, de-risk some, take some losses, and shave your portfolio to what you're comfortable with, I would say, if you can't handle it. But I think the easiest thing is just to go to logic, figure things out, learn more, right? Get more knowledge, because that's obviously what people, you know, people in general are lacking. And for me, you know, we were very comfortable in the last bull market. Obviously, when the bear market came, that was quite heavy. But generally speaking, you know, it takes a year to two, some depending on each year that you have in crypto, you have like this different level that you get to, and so you have a different level of comfortability, right? I mean, you've been in how many dips, you know, you can't even remember, right? And so you have obviously, you know, experienced this enough to, you know, understand, you know, your own self and how you relate to this market as well. And so that's just what everybody has to do.
Yep. But I mean, I just don't. If you could give us a concise statement as to why this dip does not signify the end of the bull run.
I can show the data. I can show the charts.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll see it.
Yeah, let me pull that up here. All right, can you see that?
Yep. There we go.
So I'll remove a few lines from here just because it'll make things simpler. Right. But ignore the stuff to the right in the future price action potential. But just notice a couple things, right? So we were on an uptrend here. And one of the biggest things is this Bitcoin 60-day cycle. And what we saw when we changed from this uptrend into a downtrend in the earlier part of this year, in March, April, May, what we saw here for Bitcoin was it came down and broke below one of its previous 60-day cycles. So an uptrend is defined as a low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and then lower low, right? And that's what we call a failed cycle. We tried to recover, could not, and then boom, you get a big drop, right? And we did not have that in this pullback so far. The pullback did come quite close to going below that previous 60-day cycle, but it didn't. It's held up pretty well there. So for me, the first area to pay
Is that a
attention
wick
to,
down? That's a long wick down?
Yep, that's
That's
liquidating all those leverage traders.
that's scammy.
Yep, very, very much so. And I mean, yeah, the last time I mean, this one, I think in terms of percentage of the wick itself from the body of the candle, that's like 15%, which is wild
Mm,
compared to any other market. That one here is 18% when we got to the bottom of this one. So
mm,
um, you can see when you get that kind of ridiculousness to the downside, right? It's most likely the low, right? We did come here, have a bit of a new high, but then failed and came down here for another low, one more test of that area. So I've been telling people on my show, in my trading groups and stuff like that, that, we're probably going to have a pullback here, right? A little bit. And we're having that right now. I would say in the very, very short term, um, well, first, we want to keep above the low that we already had. Then, second of all, we want to keep above this low of the last cycle. If those two break, if Bitcoin breaks below those two, then more downside is likely. And then we come back down to this previous area here. And that's where the altcoins would basically start to lose very, very quickly, right? So that's the
mm,
area. If you can't handle that, then start putting in stop losses, for stuff based on this area, right?
mm,
Otherwise, you're just whatever you do have, you have to be comfortable in holding long term. Now, that's the negative, right? In terms of if you're looking at your risk. Now, if you're looking in just the very, very short term, I would say as long as Bitcoin's holding above $49,000 here over the next 3, 4, 5 days, then we're healthy. And what I want to see Bitcoin do is recapture. Let me zoom in here. I want to see Bitcoin recapture this area here. We had this low and kind of big candle right here. So before that area, this cluster here above 56,000, if Bitcoin can recapture that area, then we start seeing, if we take a trend line against this downtrend, right? We would break the downtrend if we broke back above 53,000. And then if we broke back above this 56,000 area, then we start having a pretty healthy pull up. So that's what I
mm,
want to see on Bitcoin. I want to see it hold above 49 and then pull back up here. I would
mm,
say that's probably my main scenario right now. And it looks like we had the wick come down here about 48,600 today. So I do think the low, here is probably more likely to be in. If we go over to what was similar,
mm. Why do you think the low is in? What makes you think that?
just on how severe this was in taking out all the leverage. I mean, we did see this very, very similarly here in that last pullback. So that those types of candles tend to do that. Also, if you take a look at, let's say, for example, here, the leverage trades
Mm,
that we see on the on-chain data. So this is all futures, open interest, all leverage in the system. It basically got, but from the top here, about $10 billion got wiped out of leverage. So the exchanges made about $10 million on the people who were over leveraged in this market.
mm,
And what we've seen throughout this bull market is the leverage has increased and then it gets a washout, but it still has a higher low. So leverage stays somewhat high. Then it increases again, gets flushed out, still somewhat higher. And then, the leverage will continue to increase as this bull market increases, but will um, basically the exchanges, if they're incentivized and they can see the ability to flush out a bunch of leverage traders and make a lot of money, they're going to do
mm,
it. So that's essentially what they did right here is they just saw that opportunity and they said, this looks really good. Nobody can stop us from doing this. We're going to take that money. It's right in front of us. It's free money for them. So they're going to do
mm,
that. And that, is somewhat, or is basically unnatural or is manipulated to that extent. So, the only thing that they're doing right here is there's some people who went long again in these last 3 days. Right now with this current red candle, they're taking out some of that. And then, they've gotten enough money. There's no real huge incentive for them to flush it out again or to
mm,
try to sell a lot. Because if they do try to sell, there's pretty much most of the people right now who have sold were the short-term holders, basically people who've had Bitcoin for less than 155 days. So those people were flushed out already. They're already in a loss. They're either not coming back to the market or they're going to be buying right now, one of the two. And the people who are not selling right now are the long-term holders. We actually can see that. We can see the short-term holders here. They're currently in a loss, which we do see during normal pullbacks. in the market. And then we see here with the supply held by long-term holders, they've taken some profit up here, but for the most part, they're holding, right? This is kind of natural. After we get like a big increase, there's a little bit of sell-off from those long-term holders, and then they increase again. And then when we get into a big run up, then they start selling off as the price goes up. That's when you start to understand, okay, maybe I want to be taking profits because a lot of the long-term holders are. But if we look at this right now, the balance on exchanges is going down. The amount of money that came back on the exchanges didn't increase a lot, meaning here down in the dip to 30,000 that we had in the summer, that actually increased quite a lot. So the long-term holders are mainly holding. The short-term sellers are already pushed out of the market. And so there's no real selling pressure or incentive by the exchanges or any whales to really have much more downside on the price. So that looks to be positive for the most part.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So you have to look at a few different angles on this to kind of understand, that, and that is kind of complex for people who might be new to crypto, but generally speaking, there's more holding pressure and buying pressure. The selling pressure has been basically taken out of the market for right now, and the selling incentives as well.
Do you think people are going to buy more towards the end of the year? Christmas is coming up, end of year's coming up. I feel like maybe we're going to chop sideways for a while.
Yeah, I do think we're probably going to chop sideways for a while. What I want to see, like I said, is kind of reclamation of that area. So we're
Which area?
The 56,000 area, this previous cluster right up here. Once we can reclaim that, then I think people will start, talking about higher prices again. But the main time to look for right now is January 3rd, which is the midpoint, assuming this is the 60-day cycle low, and we're not going into a bear market.
That's when Spell has a big burn. You know that?
Interesting.
Like 5.2 billion, I think.
Yep, the guy who's helping make the tokenomics really good for Spell actually is very, very intelligent. And most of these people who run projects like that, they do actually adjust the times of their projects to the charts in the market. So that's not very surprising actually that they have that date, because it does line up very well with this midpoint of the 60-day cycle. I think after that point, we start seeing a better pull up in the market. And then
oh yeah, they're actually, so I have it right here. They are proposed to burn 5.25 billion Spell tokens on January 3rd, 2022. So 5.25 billion. So if anybody's paying attention, like to us in 2018, which you probably weren't, but or excuse me, 2019, but we were actually
Cody
calling that.
Mouse was.
Cody was, yeah. Some of the old, I think Greg, right? He's part of crypto team now. But even here, let me pull it up on the screen. This is what was happening with Binance token back then. And that's when we were talking about Binance being, we were like, one day Binance is going to be $100. Here we are now.
We said 1,000.
Yeah, I know, but at that time we're looking forward to like Binance being $100.
Yeah, I still have that tweet where we said it was going to be 1,000, and I think it was Inverse Bra. Basically, it's like, I'm going to hold this tweet, and that will never happen, basically. And I think Binance Coin's like, what was it, $600 earlier this year, so it's on its way.
He's on the Abracadabra forums, abracadabra.money. Burn proposal of the unallocated Spell per week. TLDR, we are proposing to burn 5.25 billion tokens of Spell on January 3rd, 2022. The burn tokens will be coming from a reduction in weekly emissions of Spell used to incentivize liquidity. So I'll put this link in the chat for you guys.
Yeah, that's really good.
Oh yeah. They're talking about they're going to keep emissions steady for the next 4 weeks, i.e. until January 3rd, emitting a total of 4.6 billion Spell, after which we will reduce the weekly unallocated portion by 250 million Spell. We are going to review Spell. I'll just say this. I don't have like Charlie's chart reading magical abilities, but I know a coin that is being used to make money, and when I see it, and Spell just got listed the other day on Coinbase Pro. Actually, yesterday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, they got listed on
both
Coinbase Pro and what, Huobi?
Yeah, Huobi as well, which is used to be a large Chinese exchange, but they've been forced to move out of the country. But they're still a very big player in the space.
Are they Singapore now?
I don't know where they moved, but probably that seems most likely. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, too many regulations in Tokyo. Here we go. I'll put the spell or an article there. Interesting. So that lines up with the potential cycle high, you said, or what?
So that's the midpoint of the 60-day cycle. And basically, what we want to see is chop to the upside. So, like a neutral to upwards action on Bitcoin into that date. And as long as we are healthily, I would say, above $56,000 on Bitcoin around that date, then we start heading towards the upper end of January. For me on Bitcoin would be about $87,000,
Hmm.
um, 85 to $87,000. So, yeah. And then, if Bitcoin goes from, let's say, 57,000 to 87,000 or 60,000 to $87,000 within from January 3rd to probably around January 23rd ish, plus or minus, a few days, like a week or
Mhm.
so. Then, I mean, that's 3 weeks of uber bullish price action, $20,000 to $30,000, maybe $25,000 increase on Bitcoin. That's going to, for the alts and Ethereum, right? That brings Ethereum towards, I would say, 6,000 plus. And then the altcoins will go crazy during that time. And so any coins, I think somebody in the chat also said Illuvium's land sales are around the 2nd to 3rd of January as well. So a lot of altcoins, if they know what they're doing, right, they'll pay attention to the charts and they'll place their dates on whatever improvements they're going to do to their own programs around those dates. And if the market shifts, what we usually see those projects do is they shift their dates. So if it's like, oh, we're not going to be bullish around that time, and it looks like we couldn't regain 56,000, and Bitcoin actually goes down to 30,000, then they're going to shift those dates forward. I would say the emission schedule is probably not going to change. That's going to be very hard to change, but something like a land sale for Illuvium could change. And so we saw that back in September with, it was the Columbus 5 update for Luna. That was supposed to be in the early part of September, but then we had the cycle low coming into September 20th to 28th in that week. And so they put it towards, I think it was either the beginning of October or very end of September, just because everybody wants that bullish price action, as much bullish price action on their coins and updates as possible.
Abu Future Chunks, 2 Great British Pounds, says I DC'd into Karura from $8 to $3.70. No FUD. Thoughts? I think it's a young project. I think long term it's a good thing, Charlie.
Yeah, it's the same as DOT. When DOT was under $10, we accumulated DOT for about 6 months between $3.80, which is actually kind of funny how close that is. $3.80 to about $6 or $7 on DOT. We were buying as much in that area as possible for about 6 months, and then it did a 10x right from there. No problem. So, yeah, I would say good $2 cost average down your position as long as your thesis for the coin and the fundamentals for the coin have not changed.
Yeah. So we have to take a look at a lot of things here on this channel, this market, and really just give you guys a standard for you to abide by. And if you don't have a plan, I mean, you're just going to be a
SOL.
victim.
Yep.
You're going to be a
SOL
victim.
and not the good kind. Solana's the good guy.
Yeah. So, that being said, looking at all of this information we have here, you want to just let I just want to give a personal statement. Somebody said, this is not financial advice. Is it a good time to buy ETH? I think it's always a good time to buy ETH right now.
Yep. I would
Personally.
say personally, I'm going to be stop purchasing ETH past $6,000. Just because the number of X's left in the market. I mean, it could potentially go a lot further than we think, but yeah, you start putting into other things. And the one interesting thing is today there's a few ETH related coins that haven't pumped in a really long time that are starting to pump. So there's a little bit of percolation, something interesting brewing over there. But yeah, so generally speaking, I would start looking at other coins rather than ETH. after that amount. But yeah, I mean, ETH went during that dip. Like I was pretty happy to grab ETH at about $3,800, and the ETH charts held up a lot better than Bitcoin. So I think it was like less than 8 hours,
Mm.
maybe even less than a couple hours that ETH was under $4,000. I was just like, this is too good of an opportunity. I just got to grab that because when we had ETH, or when we had the Q4 crypto mindset course in September, ETH I think was around like $2,800. So anything under $3,000 is basically a steal. Yeah, I would say once we get past $6,000, the risk is gonna get higher in everything the rest of the market. So you have to go. Not that you have to, but it's, I would say, wiser to go to the higher risk plays. You're going to get more X's, but then also, yeah, just at some point in this bull market, you can't keep buying ETH and Bitcoin forever.
Mm.
I mean, you could, but it's not like you don't want to be 80% underwater when those things, dip at the end of the bull market, right?
Yeah. I think that's next year. We're going to focus more on talking to you guys like hardcore about taking profits, because this party's going to be over. Like, this is not, you guys, if you guys think it's just, this is gravy train's going to keep on going, you don't understand, man.
Yep.
Some of you guys are going to be fucking depressed.
Yeah, we've I think the people who've been with us for, I would say, 9 months plus,
Mm-hmm.
they get the message. They understand that the bear market is where you make the most gains, where the most opportunity is. But we say that, and look at during this dip, how many people are casual, watchers or casual investors. They only really come, I would say, 60 to 80% of people, they say they'll stick around in the market and they'll take advantage of the dip. I've seen some of the smartest people that understand crypto very well, not in terms of maybe the charts or the price movements, but more so in terms of the technology and how it works and all that stuff. I've seen those people. I mean, a lot of our friends here in Tokyo from 2017, what did they do after about midway through 2018? They left the market until Bitcoin came back to its all-time high. And then when it came back to its all-time high, they say, oh, what did I miss? You're like, well, do you know about this thing called DeFi? And they're like, what's that?
Oh God.
And by that point, DeFi already had like one of its most major runs and started taking over this market. And yield was introduced in this market. You can gain, compound your coins through yield. And trying to explain that to them was like, you have to give them like 2 years of data to do that. And so they're already they're on their back foot. So if you really want to have that generational wealth and you really want to do well, not be crying like a baby, you have to change that mindset, which is why we do the crypto mindset course. And we'll be talking about taking profits aggressively from the Q1 course in January. And we're going to be talking about that all of 2022. Because I think the one thing I've known since the beginning of this bull market, when we started our channel for the Tokyo Crypto Show, and then also started the my channel in March of 2019, I knew nobody would pay attention for the most part to what I was saying until we broke that all-time high, once we broke 20,000, right? And then I knew people wouldn't listen to what I was saying once we got to the very, very end of the bull market, because they don't want to hear somebody telling you to take your profits and stop investing in the market, because people want to buy the top. It is what it is. And so you'll hear most YouTubers telling you buy when Bitcoin's at $240,000, right? Or $150,000. They'll be telling you to buy at that point. Why? Just because it benefits their bags and they want somebody to sell on to. And most large crypto people, I would say like Michael Saylor is an example. He gives great information, no doubt, but they give unrealistic price targets for this bull market. They're saying Bitcoin's going to get to $400,000 this bull market. I say no chance in hell. And the reason why they give those large targets is for institutional investors, because they actually are not experienced in this market as well. We're more experienced than them. And they also think like normies. And most of those guys are the guys getting liquidated on the exchanges here for the leverage, because they don't know how to play this game. They know how to do leverage in the traditional system, but not this one. And so they give those large, people who are like, I'm a whale because I can buy a lot of Bitcoin. And then they tell them, oh, don't worry, Bitcoin's going to $400,000 this cycle, so that they can sell on top of their ass and they become long-term holders and either or get liquidated on leverage, and they take all their money. So it's a brutal game. It's pretty brutal. So,
behind the scenes, I'm pretty hard on myself, like comparing myself to you and Miguel in regards to the crypto knowledge. But like, I just had a realization yesterday, like God, like I think this is what smart people do. And you guys at home are smart, and you know you're smart. And typically, a sign that you know you're a smart person is actually you actually doubt that you're smart. That's like the most common thing for smart people. Idiots are like, I'm smart. Smart people are like, I don't know, I think I'm kind of dumb. That being said, yeah, even me, I've made I made some trades in October that I thought would be far more difficult
Mm.
uh than they actually ended up being. And compared to like the institutional people, like when you listen to these morons on Bloomberg and CNN, like MSNBC Money, all the, and you just like read this stuff, and you're like, good lord, like these are the authorities, and it's like no wonder
Yep.
we've printed out $10 million+ in profit from the crypto mindset group over the time that they've been out, and it's it's insane for the group members that have joined. Like collectively, there's been $10 million in profits that have been realized by the guys in crypto mindset group. And like, yes, we don't have a flashy YouTube channel. We don't have like a bunch of like crypto gambling affiliate links and stuff. But the point we're trying to tell you with today's lesson is this is absolutely a surefire way to carry yourself in this market so you don't ruin yourself. Got some super chats. Fauci Ismail, Sec10. Thank you very much for those, bro. Abdil Lawrence, €2 says, what's your take on algo?
Basically, there's a lot of people shilling it on Twitter. So a lot of chatter about it, but its price performance is no better than Bitcoin, not even close, actually. Well, I wouldn't say not even close, but not doesn't consistently outperform Bitcoin. So personally, I'm not interested in algo, unfortunately.
Fauci Ismail sends another Sec50. He says, wondering if it's good to use blockchain and crypto.com to buy crypto. I think as long as you're getting it, that's the most important thing, right?
Yeah, you're getting it, decent fees. They're fine to use. Just custody your crypto, take it off of there. If you don't, not so sure about the site, I would say crypto.com. They've done a lot to improve. So that's good, but I would take my crypto off of there. I wouldn't hold it on the wallet. I would take it somewhere that I can hold it myself.
Beautiful. My buddy says, any thoughts on AVAX? What are your general thoughts on that?
Yeah, you'll make money with it. So there's a lot of yield on that platform, a lot of hype behind that as well, and it does outperform Bitcoin, Ethereum from time to time. So yeah, it's you'll make money.
Good stuff. We got a large amount of people. We have over 475 people watching us collectively on our channel. So go ahead and smash like on my channel, smash like on Charlie's channel. If you're watching on my channel, go to Charlie's Cultivate Crypto and smash like. If you're watching on Charlie's channel, go to mine, Modern Life Dating. Still, I think, Charlie, you're the only person in crypto that has partnered up with like a dating men's excellence channel.
Yeah, I think about that from time to time. I always think it's hilarious, but it's one of these things. Like, remember that Bitcoin Cash meetup we went to in Tokyo with Roger Ver and stuff back in, I don't remember when that was exactly, but there was that one guy, we were like, hey, come watch our Tokyo crypto show. He's like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. And he's like, what's the YouTube? And we gave him your YouTube. He's like, why the hell are we doing the crypto on this channel? I was like, bro, don't judge, just don't question it, just come for the good information. But
that guy still goes to an office.
Yep.
That being said, yeah, welcome to the future. We're just ahead of the curve over here on the Tokyo Crypto Show, Cultivate Crypto channel, and the Modern Life Dating channel. And that's the beauty of cryptocurrency: freedom.
Yep.
You can do what you want, and like you don't have to like follow like the traditional way that your parents taught. Like, you got to go to college, you got to get a degree, you got to get into debt, got to have 2.1 kids, you got to do this, you got to do that. Like, no, it doesn't even work. It doesn't even work like that anymore. So I'm looking forward to just continuing to push forward with this literal digital financial revolution. And in the grand scheme of it, like me and Charlie, we're not even that important, because like this thing is going to take over the world. We're just ahead of the curve. That's all it is. You think that this is like for some of you, like older people are watching us, like, yeah, this is just a trend, and I'll see what these wacky kids are up to. Nope.
That's what they think about NFTs as well, right? NFTs are like what we had in 2017, kind of vaporware, right? Not really much use case to them right now, but just watch. NFTs by the end of this decade will be something that nobody's scoffing at anymore. Yep, something to understand.
Charlie, you can read this super chat there.
Remo R with the $10 super chat from Australia, I think, says, "Hey guys, love your work. Recently went back to the earlier episodes of the Tokyo Crypto Show where you strongly opposed Hex. What contributed to your recent change of tune? Thanks in advance." I wouldn't say recent. Not by any stretch of the imagination. Just probably you weren't watching the channel on the regular. You all right there, buddy?
I'm laughing at this super chat.
Okay, gotcha. But yeah, just generally speaking, I would say we haven't changed our tune. I've had the same tune since September of, what year was that even? Was it 2020? Yeah, it was September of 2020. So over a year and a half, I've been basically saying, I hold Hex and I'm okay with it. So go back and I talked about, we've actually, here's one interesting thing as well. I mean,
that's so funny.
I guess there's two ways to look at it, right? So I would say Richard Hart has done more for his community than a lot of leaders in the cryptocurrency space have. He's actually taken care of his community, given them correct expectation settings. For the most part, he is, there's some things I disagree with him on, of course, but you don't agree with everybody all the time, right? But generally speaking, I would say he's taking care of his community very, very well throughout this entire bull market. And a lot of people made money. So that's what we're here for, right?
Yep, I'm smoking hopium. Everybody knows.
The other thing I would say to that as well, for anybody talking about Hex related to our channel, is we, in every single crypto mindset course since September of 2020, right, which is the first crypto mindset course that we did, we've done 5 so far. We're going to do 5 more down the road and more after that. And during every single crypto mindset course, we're the only cryptocurrency course in the world that helps people understand what Hex is, how to put it in your portfolio safely, how to yield on it. And then also, we're the only cryptocurrency course in the world that also talks about Pulse Chain. And we've done that ever since, I believe, the sacrifice phase, which we did in Q3 of this year. We've led people through that properly. And yeah, shout out to Whale Team 7.
Yeah. So it's looking like, I'll just say this about Hex. I still have my suspicions. However, it can be used to make money, and that's what we're here for.
Yep.
DSG 1499. When do you roughly think the bull run will end? Any dates in mind?
Yep. So I'm looking between May of 2022 to November of 2022. That's my wide band.
Yeah, it's pretty wide.
Yep. If I were to narrow it down, I would say July to October for Bitcoin and August to November for Ethereum. Because Ethereum usually runs another 2 to 4 weeks after Bitcoin does. And that's where we could get an Ethereum flipping of Bitcoin, where Ethereum's market cap goes above Bitcoin and becomes the number one coin in the market by market cap. People are like, oh my God, Ethereum is taking over the world. That maybe lasts for anywhere between 2 to 6 months. And then
market's going to go insane when that happens.
Yep. And then the party's going to be over. It's going to be over fast.
Ethereum is closing the gap, though. Ethereum has $520 billion in their current market cap, and Bitcoin's at 940. Let me just pull up this for you guys. Dude, I honestly see, I don't know, man. I could see, I think Bitcoin got to the party first, but I think the use case for Ethereum is eventually going to be the one that causes it to take number one for a while. Because Bitcoin is it's just a stored value, but Ethereum is just fueling all these fucking projects.
Yep.
So
and
here we go.
Also, it's like the same thing that Bitcoin did to Ethereum in 2017. Ethereum's doing to the other coins, right? Which was Bitcoin's fees got so high, they were $40. Oh my God. And everybody in 2017 was complaining about that. And so that gave Ethereum a chance to come up and take more market share, and so give birth to a lot of new coins. And so that's what's happening now in this bull market. Ethereum has, much, much higher fees than Bitcoin ever had, multi-$100 fees. And that's spurring the innovation in the crypto space for multiple ecosystems below Ethereum. So not only is Ethereum giving birth to a lot of projects, but it's also motivating the competition to diversify the crypto space with other technologies and other ecosystems that will bring a lot of new money to the space, but then also a lot of new innovation.
Yeah. So you guys can see the numbers here at home. $945 billion in Bitcoin, $521 billion in Ethereum. So big difference there.
Yeah, if you look at the very top, you can see that dominance metric at the very top
Right
in the
here.
middle. Yeah,
Bitcoin dominance is 40%. Ethereum dominance 22. Gwei is only 69. Not bad.
yeah, that's pretty good for right now, actually.
Yeah. So if you want to make your moves, for all you guys that are complaining about fees and stuff during
Now's the
the
time.
the dip time, now is the time when you're not emotionally charged up. But anyways, let's do a quick look at. So I obviously not financial advice. Don't believe me for anything. Me and Josh from eLift program, we have like a little inside joke, like spell tokens going to $17 for sure. And I look at spell right now as an early opportunity to make some money. Now, I could very well be wrong, and I am wrong often. So don't take my word for it. However, I have an invested interest, let's just put it that way, in spell, and my interest has been rewarded because it had like an 80% run up the other day. That was pretty lit.
Yeah, if you
Um,
look at, you can look on the CoinMarketCap sites and stuff and see. I think Spell, along with maybe a handful of other coins over the last week, has been pretty much one of the biggest gainers.
yeah, exactly. And here's the chart right here. So this is what I was talking about. From here, Spell had a run up from about less than a penny, 0.009, and then now here, I mean, it did run up all the way to 2 pennies, 0.021 of a penny, and then that was massive there. And so I'm just looking forward to right now we're at where are we at? We're at 0.017. It just got listed on Coinbase, and it's recovering relatively well compared to, because the market does seem to be recovering just a little bit right now, slightly.
Mm.
50K Bitcoin, 4,400, and it's hilarious. Like we're recovering to these numbers, right? It's hilarious.
I know.
I mean, if you can't see the writing on the wall and see how we are here, and like this is not a this is not like Jinko jeans, okay? This is not a fad. This is here to stay. So spell's looking pretty lit. I'm thinking we're gonna see. The last time we had a run up like this what was also a scheduled burn on November 3rd, and spell ran up to its all time high, which is like 3 cents, almost 3.5 cents. Now that also correlated with Halloween, Phantom Event, and Spooky Swap being Halloween themed, which we timed that as well. So who knows? But I don't think they'd put too much of a shit coin on Coinbase Pro. I'll just put it that way, because they got
No.
to keep some kind of reputation going.
Yeah, we can make good jokes about Coinbase if we wanted, but yeah, no, just generally speaking, yeah, they don't put projects on there just for the shits and giggles, right? They're not like Binance.
Right, exactly. So, you want to look at the spell chart? Let's look at the spell chart
Let's
and then
pull it
jump
up.
into today's topic.
All right, there we go.
Here we go.
It's a spell looking mighty nice. Here, if we look at basically what do we got going here for people who may be newer to the charts, we got a very, very, very simple chart here with we got a 20 moving average in the middle. That's the middle red line. We got the 10 moving average, which is that yellow line. And then we got these Bollinger Bands, which signal dynamic support or resistance. So you can see sell
Beautiful.
here. Or so not, I was going to say sell spell here the last 2 days, getting resistance here on the Bollinger Bands. So once you get a few closes above that 2 cent area, 21 or 2.1 cents and so
On the day chart?
On the daily chart, once we get that, there's going to be some expansion here. And then spell starts coming up here to about 2.8 cents, I would say. And then from there, if it can break that area, I think then it goes higher to like 5 to 8 cents. Over what period of time is a different question. But What you can see here during the dip, actually, which is quite nice, if you go from its all-time low to its all-time high, because I believe this was the first wave up for Spell, the first major wave up, because you could argue that these were others, right? But I would say this is its first full 5 wave to the upside. You see here it comes back down to this 0.786 area on the Fibonacci levels. When you have an uptrend in play such as this, if it comes back to the 0.382 area, that's a short-term pullback. And then from there, it can keep going. That's a very strong uptrend. If it pulls back to the 0.618, that's a normal, healthy pullback. And if it continues from there, then that's a normal uptrend. If it comes all the way down to 0.786, that's its last area of support, generally speaking. And if it bounces off there, that just means it did a full retracement, and now it's on its way back up. So we want to see it break back above this area, the 0.382. Once it can break above there, which is about 2.2 cents, then it starts going good. And then you can also take a look at it this way, which is, okay, what are the future price targets? If we just go the opposite way here, you can see it's getting resistance here at that 0.5 area. Could get more resistance at 0.61, but really that basically needs to break this 0.786 to the upside, which would be about 2.8 cents. Once it can get past there, it's going to break to all-time highs and go towards one of these two levels as its first target, which would be 1.618, which would be about 5.2 cents, and then 2.618, which would be about 8.1 cents. So from the current area, that's about a 2.5 or 3 to 4x, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, that would be
Quite
very
nice.
that would be very comforting to have it go to 4 to 5 cents.
5 to 8.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Oh, that area right here, right?
For my personal, like 4 cents would just be like, okay, I'll be back in summer.
Yeah, I mean, if you front run it and take profits there, just make sure to realize them, and then Lambo
Yeah,
out, baby.
yeah.
But make sure to
Exactly.
go on a boat cruise first, so you make sure that uh, you know, you have some situations.
Yeah. So we're looking at a potential, obviously not financial advice, blah blah blah. Don't sue us. But this looks like, in my opinion, because the coin is so young, it just came out in June, I believe, and
Yeah, I
yeah,
think on the chart, yeah, it has a date as far as back as August. Yeah, it probably has
yeah,
a little bit longer than the chart shows us, but yeah, exactly.
yeah. So uh, we got a super chat here, but that's looking good. I think keep an eye on spell if you guys got a little bit of spell. Remo R A5 says, may have misspoke about the recent comment, but after taking the Q4 course, I was surprised to see that you had previously opposed the coin. Oh no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. He's talking about Hex.
Oh yeah, no, I
Don't
mean,
worry about
yeah, I mean, in the Q4 course, if you did take the Q4 course, we weren't opposed to it at all in there. But yeah, you can go back and watch the videos. I mean, we haven't taken down the videos.
it.
They're
Mhm.
on the Modern Life Dating channel, and you can go back and listen to those. I've listened to them, not all of them. I've listened to one of them once, and I can understand what I did not understand at the time, and then I also
Mhm.
understand actually the questions we were asking were legitimate. So, you never should be afraid to ask questions and challenge a token. You should actually do that to every single token as much as possible. Right? Take a big
Mhm.
grain of salt and vet it. And if you take that grain of salt and you vet it and you find out actually, yeah, um, it's good. Then you can change your opinion and move forward and make some money. So
Yeah.
the faster you can do that, the better. And we had about a 3 month turnaround on that. We did the videos in May and June, I think, and then in September, I went on the Discord syndicate. Basically, was like, hey, let's do a flogging here, and then water under the bridge. Unless you're just a person who gets your panties in a bunch, and you know, which there are some hexagons that are of that nature. Then sorry, sorry that everybody can't be an adult here, but water under the bridge, that is what it is, and whatever
It's all good.
it is. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
all good. We're out here. We're out here making these moves, baby.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, right? Let's shall we just jump into this and
Yeah,
talk
let's do
about
it.
today's strategy? So I have the list here on my phone. So okay. So we're gonna talk about the stages of buying a dip. And I'll talk about the first one because I can relate to a lot of people. Um, but you know, the number one thing when we have a dip, right? The first thing is you've got to number one is you got to stay calm. Okay, you've really got to stay calm. Like I know people that panic sell their entire bags when the slightest market shift happens, and it's just like it's just not okay. I mean,
No,
it's
it's yeah, it makes it harder for that person, right? A lot harder.
mhm. Yeah, it's not good. It's truly gonna really ruin everything about you. Uh, Psychologically, it's gonna ruin things about you. Um, your portfolio, it's just gonna get you in trouble. So you got to stay calm. Number one, Charlie, what's your thoughts on that in general?
Yeah, you got to be prepared for that. You got to think about it in advance, right? So, if a coin goes down to a certain level, what will you do about it, right? Is there a level that you need to get out of a token because you can't handle it? You should have that strategy in place beforehand. I know I saw the list as well, and I know we have in there a part about risk versus profit, and that this part leans into that, which is you got to know what your risk is, right? If you get into a coin and you have not taken risk into account, you should not be getting into any coins if you haven't taken the downside into account.
Yeah, it's not good. Um, you got to be, you got to be, you got to be careful with your emotions, man. Your emotions will betray you. And I know a lot of people. There's a friend I have in Tokyo. He's a nice guy. He's a good looking guy. Makes money in real estate and stuff. But he was telling me about his predictions on Ethereum. I was like, oh, okay. Like he was making pretty logical sense. I was like, so how do you come to these conclusions? He's like, I just have a feeling when I look at the charts. I was like, yikes. Okay.
Mm, just got
No,
that feeling, baby.
I just got a feeling. And I'm just like, anybody can make money in a bull market. Anybody can easily generate income in a bull market. So not really, not something that I would say is, you know, uh, not a good strategy.
Yeah, I heard the moon phases are really good predictors of price changes and swings,
Mm.
just as they are in the emotions of people. If you're going at it with that type of logic, you're probably not going to make it.
Somebody
Remember
says, "What do you?"
Cliff High?
Oh God, where is he dead?
No, I like the guy just generally speaking in terms of who he is, right? But in terms of his information on crypto, yikes, man.
Yeah,
And it was very emotional driven, very emotional driven.
extremely. Anyways, so let's go to the next one, number two, right? Uh, First one is stay calm, and then number two is analyze the market. Okay, so you need to have a general ability to look at the market and look at time, and you basically have to be able to look at the market and connect timing with what the market is doing at this time, which is dropping, right? Don't buy too early. Like for me, I kind of regretfully moved a little too slow. You and Miguel were moved pretty quick, and I respect that. You guys packed your bags quickly, but the
It's a
next
financial
day,
market. You gotta move quick.
right when you're educated,
Right. Exactly. The when you're still figuring out information, right? If you're
right?
still information gathering, which is going to be the case for a lot of people, yeah, you gotta move gingerly.
Yeah. And so, you got to look at what's going on with the whole market and analyze it not from feelings, not from chakras, not from numerology and astrology like chicks on TikTok are doing. I just got lucky, quite frankly. But that's the number one thing. You got to analyze the market and see what's going on. Take a sober look at it too. Don't look at biased accounts. Look at everybody. Find the number one YouTuber you hate and go see what he's saying. Like, get
Tone
it, get it.
base? No,
Yeah.
I mean just
Rest in
joking.
peace, Tom Hayes. But get an analysis from everybody, right? And
Yep,
that's step number two. What are your thoughts on that?
100% agree. Like I do actually agree with that. Going to the people that you disagree with, and also looking at what they're saying, because you have to get even if they're biased opinions, they're less biased against your subjective opinion, right?
Mhm.
I tell people to go do that. Like, go and find, the people that you agree with,
Okay.
and then go find the people who you disagree with. But obviously, you're going to have like an 80-20 principle on that. 80% of people that you follow that you agree with, take that information in, see where it lines up together, or see where it diverges a little bit, and probably where most of the stuff lines up. That's what you want to pay attention to. And then where go look at that 20% of the people that you generally disagree with, but might have good logic to what they do, like Tone Vase, and see if they show you anything different that you might not have considered, and then see how likely that should be taken into equation.
Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, so that's really important to analyze the market from a logical and critical standpoint. Like I said, I moved one day too late on my spell holdings. It is what it is, but if I were to make the move that I was planning to make at that time, my spell bag would be, let's see, my spell bag would be over $300,000 right now, but I didn't pull it. I had to wait. And
Here's the other thing, right? When the market takes a big shit like we did, right?
yeah,
Like, if you're buying any coins which are not in the top 10 or top 20 cryptocurrencies during that type of dip,
hmm.
you're basically dollar cost averaging in at a lower price. That's good, but you have to be willing to hold that coin for a long time. And if we
Oof.
go into a bear market, right, you have to be willing to hold the coin into a bear market. So that's the main thing, is like, even if you could have gotten a lower price, it's not necessarily the best situation to do unless you're going to be holding it into a downtrend, significant downtrend, right? Because most people, generally speaking, they may hold their altcoins into a significant downtrend, but then at some point they got to cut it if we go into a bear market, because they may not survive, right? So I think
Right.
that's, what you did was good risk management, basically. So
Mm-hmm.
don't beat yourself up if you could have got lower prices. I think a lot of people do that. I could have got Ethereum at under $1,000. I saw it at that time. Shucks, but you didn't, right? And
Yeah.
could have done that. I could have done this. And hindsight's always 2020. When the chart recovers and it looks good in the back end, in the review mirror, yeah, you're gonna say, what about that? What about this? But you have a strategy and you're sticking to it, which is the most important.
Yeah. Really important. Remo R, $5 super chat says, all love, guys. No hate here. Hard to express emotions through text. No worries. Let's go to the next
It's all
one.
good. No, we're not hating on you either.
Yeah, we're not. Next step. Number 3, and this is really important for me as well. But you go to your trusted advisors. That's huge. And that's why, because when was the last enrollment for the crypto mindset? When was the
Was
last
it?
time?
We had the enrollment in early September, and then we had the course in mid to end of September.
Right. So the guys that signed up for crypto mindset course had direct access to you and Miguel and myself in the chat group to be like, basically chill out. Like,
Yeah.
calm down, everything's fine. And we were able to give some analysis on what was happening. A great resource I personally have is my buddy Josh. Josh from eLift program. He loves to look at the data on Glassnode, and he's like a data genius, and he's just like, okay, like this doesn't make sense. Like, so this is manipulation. He was like, this is not organic.
Mm.
And we were both talking about it and realizing, like, okay, like something is definitely happening here.
Mm.
So yeah, it's so important to have your mentors, your guided advisors. And I'm not talking about the guy who like aped into Shiba Inu and made like 10 grand 10 days, like 1,000% off of luck. You know what I mean? Somebody just texted me right now, and speaking on our group, there's a big they just had a huge wick up on Bitcoin. I don't see it. Never mind.
Yeah, it's pulled up, but they're probably looking at the hourly chart, which is fine. But yeah, it's pulled up pretty well here. It's back. It was when we started the stream, it was about $1,000 lower, but
Yeah. Okay, like looks like at our time. Yeah, about an hour ago. Okay, yeah, he's late.
yeah, I would say actually one thing that's interesting, if I'm looking at Ethereum, if I do go down to the
Right
hourly
here.
chart,
I think this is what he's talking about here.
yeah, Hold on.
This is totally organic, right?
Right. I'm not seeing it right here. I
It's
mean, here's the thing: is when you get buy pressure on a coin, it doesn't have to be non-organic. It could be plenty of organic moves there, but um, the downside I would say is definitely a lot more. I would say the last hourly close was good. If we can get a couple hours above 4,400 on ETH and a couple of hours above 50,000 on Bitcoin, we're good to go. Let's get this rocket ship back in business.
Yeah,
I would say we have a chance to go to $5,000 ETH here, which would be a $600 move. If that, you want to watch that over the next few hours, that's you can entertain yourself with the hourly charts. That is fun. Or as P. Willie says there, entertain yourself with the 1 minute charts and
oh
get
God.
cracked out on charts. It is fun sometimes, to do that for like a couple minutes just to see all the action, but it's not going to benefit you by any means.
Yeah, 5K ETH would be nice. Anyways, that being said, go to your trusted advisors because it's better to have a bunch of smart people making decisions than not. Like for my advisors are you, Josh, Miguel, and Simon, and
Yeah, Simon.
and
I love Simon's takes on the daily moves.
yeah, and Jacob too. Like that's my
Yep.
little my personal crypto mindset. I just go to everybody, I take their opinions, and I take my own data and I look at the market, and I'm like, okay, like I can make a decision here now
Mm-hmm.
to change the trajectory of my holdings and my portfolio. So that's a way to really leverage other people's intelligence, because you as a man, or woman, or whatever the hell you identify as watching us, you watching these charts, right? You only have a limited amount of brain power. So when you have multiple trusted advisors, I mean, you're literally 10xing, 5xing, 20xing your brain power. And other people, that's why you should become a valuable asset yourself too.
Mm.
So people will come to you and then they'll bring your data and you exchange your data. Because like me and Charlie were saying at the beginning of the show, data is everything. So if you don't have a decent data collection unit, then you're gonna suffer financially for it. But if the more you have, like, I'm lucky enough to be friends with Charlie, so I don't have to pay him to hit him up or anything. I'm just like, hey, what's going on? Same thing with Miguel, same thing with Josh, Simon, all those people. And you know there's people within that group that are 7-figure traders, and so having access to that is really fantastic. And
Mm.
so go to your trusted advisors. That's number 3. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah. I would say that's mostly about right. Some people, right, during times of those times, sometimes like when the market's very volatile, it can be hard to, maybe reach all of your trusted advisors, right? Maybe they have a lot of people asking them questions, right? So if you can find somebody that's kind of like your partner in crime as well, right, who is logical and not like super emotional during different parts of the market, you can use your peers as well, to kind of work things out. Just you have to understand, which people might be kind of the fudders in the group, or the people who might be, maybe you don't want to be lemmings with each other and kind of all lead each other off a cliff. That's the only problem with that strategy a little bit. But in terms of if you're listening to a lot of people around you, right, because they might not all have the best information, but yeah, just generally speaking, yeah, go to people that you can discuss it with, so that you have somebody to at least bounce ideas off of during that time. But then also you can probably, either prior to those periods or after those periods, right, you can then get in touch with your trusted advisor as well, and hear what they have to say, even if you can't reach them immediately.
Let's go to number 4. Number 4 is pretty cool too. This is the fun part. Calculate the risk and profit, because you don't buy the dip to be cool. You buy the dip to make money, because the average
Yep.
person, they panic sell. The market drops. They lose all discipline. They lose all sense of reality. Their emotions completely flood them. And then they get this extreme fear of loss, the extreme fear of, getting completely wrecked. And then they're like, I just got to save what I could save. And then they sell and act instinctively. And that's what these people want, the big guys that are
Mm.
causing these market moves. That's exactly their plan. So
Oh yeah.
you got to be smart enough and strong enough and got to just be ready to buckle down and handle that, because if not, I mean, then weak hands are always punished, man. Weakness in life is always punished.
Yep. Yeah, and if you're gonna choose one side in crypto to be a perma bear or a perma bull on the main coins, not necessarily on the altcoins, but if you're gonna choose one of those, I would say choose perma bull, because this market goes up more than it goes down. When it goes down hard. So just don't be a perma bull on shit coins, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. So I think that with this current market, you got to calculate your risk, calculate your profit, and then be smart about it. Don't be like a psychopath, right? Be relatively intelligent about it, and be able to um it's cool to be exorbitant, and it's cool to have like a little bit of, I'm getting echo or something from you, buddy.
I
um
can't hear anything.
I'm hearing it in my headphones. But there is a sober way to go about it, and you sometimes it's cool to have like these big lofty goals if you have experience or whatever. But not having them, and kind of just not calculating a risk and a profit before you pull the trigger, because once you pull the trigger, whether you're experienced or not, your emotions are still going to have a play in
Oh hell
you.
yeah.
So you need to have a solid number that you're going to risk and a solid amount of profit that you want to pull. I made a mistake in October. I got into Spell at a good price point, and I was like, I'm 100% going to pull it at 3 cents. And then it went past 3 cents, and I got greedy. And then it went to 3, 4, and I was like, this thing's going to 5 cents. And then it crashed down below 3 cents, and I had to pull. I still made profit, but I didn't stick to my plan. And because I didn't stick to my plan and I got greedy, I actually ended up losing more profit than I wanted to. And if I would have just stuck to my plan, I would have had a nice little cushion of, annual salary for some people. And I didn't. I got emotional. And the emotion, because people think emotions are only negative, but greed is an emotion too.
Oh hell yeah.
And
Greed and fear are the two things that rule everybody in the financial markets. That's for damn sure.
I got greedy, and you know got caught with my hand in the cookie jar, and it is what it is.
Well, hey, at least you got your hand caught in the profit jar. So,
Yeah.
there's unrealized gains, right? Is that's not too big of a it's not too big of a deal. Yeah, there's some opportunity cost in that. And so it's funny, some people, they're more emotional about opportunity costs than they are about actual losses. If they lose a potential profit versus actually losing money, they're actually less emotionally distraught when they make an actual loss over like an opportunity cost. Which, if if you are that type, I would just say, figure that one out a little bit, because you should be more distraught, or more, you should not distraught, it's not the right word, but you just shouldn't enjoy losses more than than fake losses, right? So, because I think too many people, they count their balance. They basically, when the prices are sky high, right, they're like, I have this much money. No, you don't. You have this much Bitcoin and Ethereum. You have this much of your altcoin or whatever. You have this many coins. That's what you have. One Bitcoin's always one Bitcoin, whether it's $30,000 or $60,000, right?
Mm.
So don't always look at those profits in the dollar value. I would say pay attention to what you're having in crypto, because the long-term game is to cultivate more crypto, get more Bitcoin, get more Ethereum, get more of the coins that you like, and stack, right? Keep stacking up.
Yep. Number 5. This is the one that takes a lot of. This one takes a lot of cojones. Takes a lot of balls. It's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of nerve wracking at the same time. But number 5 is make your move. That's when you
Yep.
you click the button on the computer, you click your screen on your mobile phone, your smartphone, you hit the button, and now it's like, all right, we're on this roller coaster. And then
That's
we're
the
on.
fun part for me.
I'm on it right now. I'm on it right
Yep.
now.
It's
And
quite the clicking that button gives you quite a good dopamine hit too, you know.
oh yeah, spell's going to $17 for sure. Uh, so riding that right, get on the train. You got to get on that rocket ship, and hey, sometimes that thing blows up like the Challenger. Is that too soon? But
Hey, we might have the cycle high around the 28th, man. Hey.
really?
Yeah, I'm actually I joked about that on my stream yesterday a little bit because the cycle high for Bitcoin, if we keep the current cycle low, which it looks like we probably will be like most likely between the 18th to 28th. So man, if we get the cycle high right on there, it's oh
So
boy,
Chris
let the memes commence.
Chris Perez says, when is spell $17? December 28th for sure. No, yeah, no,
And then back to
we're just
zero.
yeah, we're back to zero. It takes brass balls to buy crypto. That's right. If you can't sell shit, you are shit. But yeah, so that's number 5, make your move, right? Charlie, what do you say about that?
Yeah, when you make your move, you already have all of those things on the checklist taken care of up to that point.
It's funny.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah. The Hex community is pretty quiet,
Yeah, I would say this is also a thing when it goes back to that emotional stance, right? Were
Mhm.
they ready to hold back to these prices, right? I would say the majority of the community, they talk big talk, right? The newer people in the community,
Yeah,
and they
huge
don't
talk.
they don't have that hodling. They do have the hodling ability, but they don't. They complain about it. I think the most recent Hex people, I think, I even heard people, in the Hex community who are, the people who've been in there a long time kind of complaining about some of those newer people just because they get everybody who's new to the market, who's been in the market less than 6 months is going to get emotional one way or the other. But anyways, so just remove that emotion. But anyways, that's a different thing. So the one we're talking about here though is right, making your moves. So
Make the
by
move, yeah.
that point, kind of like, it's kind of like flying an airplane. Are you gonna like just jump in the airplane, turn on the engine, put it forward and just start going, and that's how you're going to take off? No, you have to go and make sure that the plane obviously works.
Works.
You have your
Yeah.
oil in it, you have your gas. You check all these things off your checklist. You start going down to that runway. You make sure you talk to the tower and all that shit. And basically, then when you're ready to take off, right? You're not going to just be like, oh, sorry, I think I'm not going to fly today. I'm just going to like pull back the throttle, go back to the hangar, bro. Like, no, you're ready. You did primed, you did everything, and then you just boom, you go. And so that's should be the easiest part if you've made a logical chain of thought up to that point. And so then the next part is taking profit and landing, which is the hard part. So actually enjoying the ride is quite nice.
Yeah, and it's part of the game, and you got to play to learn, and you got to play to earn. And so pull the trigger, and
Yep.
then the next thing is the most important part. So when you do this, number 6 is you absolutely have to monitor the trade at an above average level. So you don't make your position and then not set stop losses, not set, profit taking mechanisms in place, and then like go to the club and like rage for like 5 hours. And but it is fun when you're raging at the club and you're like, the price is going up. Yes,
Yep.
I've done that before.
Oh yeah, that's great.
I don't advise it though. I don't advise it because if you go to the club and it crashes, then you're like, oh, I'm gonna drink myself to death tonight.
Well,
Um,
unless you got your automated orders in, and you're
right,
good on that. Yeah.
right. So yeah, you really got to heavily monitor your trades, in my opinion, because if you don't, then you know, hmm, it's gonna be tough for you, to be honest with you. Charlie, what do you
Hmm.
think?
Yeah, and so that's where it depends on how much automation do you have. You can't have everything automated in crypto, but at least you can have a stop loss if you're using a centralized exchange,
Mm,
right? If you're not using a stop loss, then you're gonna have to monitor much more closely, right? You're gonna have to pay attention to it a little bit more closely there because it's not going to automatically sell if it does go against your position, or it doesn't. It's not going to automatically take profit if you miss that area. So yeah, if you're not using those tools, you gotta pay more attention, but don't let it crack you out to where like every single minute you're looking at it. It is fun to look at it often, right? When your price is going up, like I said, it's an enjoyable ride, right? Um, but go take a walk, go put your mind on something else for a little bit, and then
Mm.
have specific times of the day that you come back to it, right? To monitor it. That way, you're like, okay, I have a thesis onto where I think the price is going.
Yeah.
Is it going in that direction? Look at it. Yes, it is. It looks good. All right. Do I have the mechanisms in to protect myself? Yes, I do. Okay, cool. No, I don't. Okay, maybe I'll check it a little bit, but not like every single minute, and then come back to it at the next period of time that you think is important to look at it, based on the chart or based on whatever information you're looking at, and then just come back and look at it every once in a while, because a lot of people say, like, do you have a hard time sleeping? I think I've heard an accountant in the past say, like, how the hell do you sleep with that much volatility
Mm.
happening, right? And it's like, you get used to it. And I would say, you just gotta roll with it, roll with the punches.
Mm.
But the newer you are to the market, the more you're gonna have to probably pay attention, just so that you don't get caught on the wrong side of things.
Yeah, I would say that definitely I pay a lot of attention. I hyper analyze. Like I religiously pay attention to what's happening when I'm into a trade.
And
When it's a buy the dip kind of trade, you know what I mean?
yeah, the one thing we didn't mention was position sizing, right?
Yeah.
The more money you have on the line, the more you got to pay attention to it, basically, as well. So um, if it's just like you bought Shiba Inu with $100 because for shits and giggles, then you probably don't have to, right? But if you're in a serious position, then yeah, you're gonna want to take care of that.
Yeah, it's important. It's important. Let's go to the second last one here.
Oh, can we do one more little thing there? Commando, I think in the chat said set alerts on your phone. That's another good little piece of advice.
Oh
You can
yeah.
uh you can use different trading platforms like TradingView, and different things like that to set price alerts. So that if you aren't able to use like a stop loss or take profit mechanism, you can be alerted when a price does something, and then you can go back and pay attention to it then as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And that brings us to the last one here, which is number 7, stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. I missed out on $30,000 plus in the end of October, beginning of November, because I did not stick to my plan with Spell. I would have been up 30 grand extra on my trade, but I lost it. And it was really annoying to do that. And is the most annoying part is because it was 100% my fault. And I was just so mad. So mad. So there we go. A donation. Can you hear that?
No, I can't.
Okay, good. Garrick Marchena, $5 super chat. Thank you so much. On my channel says, took the crypto mindset Q2. Cannot lie. It's overwhelming. Going over the horror course for the second time is still having a difficulty understanding. Right. But that's the levels of growth and intelligence is like, there's unconsciously incompetent, and now you're like consciously competent. So like, okay, like before you didn't know you're an idiot, now you're an idiot. You're like, okay, so I am an idiot. So it's like, it's the levels of intelligence and competence, right? It's like unconscious competence, conscious incompetence, and then like conscious competence, and then unconscious competence. You know what I mean? So you are
Yeah.
actually moving up the letters, the ladder, moving up the ranks, the levels, whatever you want to say. So that being said, yeah, it's really important that you pay attention to the data, and it's not going to happen overnight. Me and Charlie, I've been in crypto since 2016. Charlie's been in crypto since 2017, right? Think about
Yep.
that. That's 5 years that we've both been involved in crypto.
Yeah. And the one thing I would ask people is, Um, are you the type of person who, when the prices are going well, you're watching, and then when the prices go down, you run away, and then you come back only when the prices are good, right? Or do you have a consistent plan for taking in that information, right? I would say learning, like you said, like getting up those steps is important. I enjoyed your analogy there, but and it is correct. You are making progress, but um, learning is spaced repetition, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's when you're learning a language, I can look at, 100 words in Japanese. I'm only going to remember 15 of them probably in a single
Right.
day. And I can go look at 100 of them again. I'll probably still only remember about like maybe somewhere between 10 to 20 of them. And then I'll do it again. And maybe 3 weeks after looking at those consistently, that's the key, is consistently over those 3 weeks, then maybe I'll remember 20, 25 of them, right? And then over 3 months, maybe I'll remember 50 out of the 100, right? And then over a year, maybe I'll remember all 100. And then the next year, I'll forget them all if I don't keep, refreshing that memory bank, right? So that spaced repetition is massively important. So you have to put your learning on a schedule, even if you get demotivated, right? Basically, this is too much information, blah, 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 blah. It's like, fine, break it down at bite-sized chunks you can palate, right? So take that over the course of 3 months, 6 months, a year, however you need to divide it up, and put it on a schedule. And then also put it on a schedule to repeat that information, and then do that consistently. The more consistent you are with it, and then you take in the new information as it's coming out in the rest of the market as well. That kind of balance as you go forward. Eventually, after about a year, you'll have that base foundation of knowledge, and it will be pretty solid. And that base foundation won't go away, right? It will
Right.
change the market. It will need to change with the market because the market will change. And so you need to kind of refill in how that's shifting. But generally speaking, that base knowledge will not change. And so then you can build upon it from there, right? And so it is like learning a language. You get to different kind of plateaus in your knowledge. And so when you're feeling like you're at a plateau, then might have to juice it up a little bit, challenge yourself a little bit more again, in order to get to that next level. So it is hard. It's not easy, and like you said, right, it takes several years. I would say it takes 6 months in crypto to be aware. It takes 3 to 6 months, right, depending on how fast you are. It takes 6 months to a year to be competent, right, and it takes 1 to 5 years to understand the basics of, let's say, the basics of everything. And then it takes, I would say, 8 years probably to become like an actual master at it. And that's consistently paying attention. If you take breaks,
They say
significant breaks,
they say 10,000 hours.
Yeah,
Ten
exactly.
thousand hours gives you mastery.
Yep. Well, I mean, yeah, I would say in crypto, because it's changing so much, I would say maybe even more in crypto just because of how quickly this market changes, right? Because
Oh yeah.
you can put in, reason why I'm basing those yearly timeframes on it is because that will bring you, basically you'll have one full cycle of knowledge over a 3 to 5 year period. So you see Bitcoin go from, everybody says it's dead, going to break all-time highs, going into Ethereum going up, going into an alt season, crashing back down to going to zero, rinse and repeat, right? And then you have like a cycle and a half of experience. You've seen almost everything. The only thing that changes is that base information of like what's new in this bull market and how is the market shifting. And then after about a cycle and a half, you have enough experience now, you can probably have mastered this and do it. So I mean, most of the people I know in crypto haven't been around crypto consistently for 8 years, right? Almost none of us are at that level. The people who have are usually like the guys who are like CZ, Roger Ver, the guys who are running this market, right? So that's another level too.
Oh yeah. So looking at what we have here, we have got our buddy Commando. Thank you so much. Final rundown. Number 1, stay calm. Number 2, analyze the market. Number 3, go to your trusted advisor. Number 4, calculate risk and profit. Number 5, make your move. Number 6, monitor the trade effectively. And number 7, stick to the plan. So if you don't have a group to be part of, you can join Charlie's his Telegram chat group, which is 24-hour monitored by him and his team, where they're constantly looking at the market and analyzing what's going on. If you want bi-weekly help from me, you can go to my Patreon, patreon.com/modern life dating, where we monitor the markets there. that's going to do it. So this is our comeback episode from a 2-month hiatus. Charlie will be back tomorrow on his channel, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be back tomorrow on my channel, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have a psychological expert coming on talking about toxic shame, inner game, and all that stuff on my episode tomorrow. Charlie, you want to talk about yet?
Yeah, I don't have the topic for my channel tomorrow. But yeah, I would say anybody who is in crypto who hasn't, maybe taken care of, I mean, you're right. I guess we could call it different things, but basically, your phrase is make money, make muscles, learn game. For people who haven't done the other two out of those three things, right? Maybe they focus on money and they've gotten that taken care of. Then go over to John's channel, Modern Life Dating, subscribe. Make sure that you take care of those because that is valuable information. I think the inner game stuff that you talk about on your channel is massive. Most people don't even consider their own psychology when it comes to a financial market, much less their daily lives.
Yep.
So that's going to be really good. And then my channel will continue to talk about crypto, continue to update you guys on the market, make sure that we keep making you guys good money and keep you guys calm, keep you guys centered, keep you guys having a strategy. So we'll be doing that tomorrow at the times that John said. So should be good.
Okay, good stuff. All right, guys. Until then, Garrick, I think he sent me another one. $5 super chat. This is the thing is I'm learning. The thing is I'm learning this crypto thing, and at the same time unlearning my 50 years blue pill brainwash and getting my finances order. It's
Fair
okay,
enough.
bro. Do what you got to do.
Yeah, it'll take longer. That's for damn sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to, before I got into crypto, not really have focused on finance. I got to start as a crypto native, right? Was what we call people who just like their first foray into finance is crypto. And so, yeah, if you have to unlearn some things, stop listening to Peter Schiff. That probably is a good start. And best of luck to you on that.
All right, guys. Until then, we'll see you next time. Peace out.